Hi, this would be for quiz retake. Quiz retake 2-2 geometry review. So let's go over at least the first question. So for instance, if you were given an equation such as 7x plus 21 is equal to 5 times the quantity 2x plus 3, the rules of geometry, just as in the rules of algebra, every step that you take must be justified by a reason. Okay, so if this is our original equation, and all these are stated in section 2-2, original equation, if our next step is to eliminate the parentheses, I'm going to use distributive property. So my next step would be to go 7x plus 21 equals 5 times 2x plus 5 times 3, and the reason for that would be distributive property, which is one of the properties stated in that section. You need to have studied that to understand what property applies to what action. Alright? The next step would be to simplify. So I'm going to simply multiply. So I go 7x plus 21. 5 times 2x is 10x. 5 times 3 is 15. So the rule is just to simplify. Okay? At this point, now I want to basically eliminate the variable from one side of the equation. So I'm going to subtract, I'm going to add negative 7x to both sides of the equation. Alright? What you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. This is addition property of equality. If you add something to one side of the equation, you must add something to the other as well. Addition property of equality. That's also one of the rules stated in section 2-2 that you were supposed to have studied. Okay? Again, if we simplify, the x's on this side of the equation disappear. That goes to 0, and you're left with 21. 10x minus 7x is 3x plus 15. So that is simply simplify. Now we want to eliminate the constant term on the variable side of the equation. So I look at 3x, I look at 15. 15 is the constant term on the variable side of the equation. So my goal here is to get x by itself, to eliminate all the numbers surrounding x. So I'm going to subtract 15. Now really add negative 15 to both sides. And again, this is addition property of equality. This is properties that we supposedly learned in Algebra 1-2, and we have reviewed in this section. Addition property of equality. The result now is we have 6 equals 3x. So that's a simplify. Alright, now what we want to do is we want to get rid of the 3. That's the 3 is the numeric coefficient of the variable. That's a fancy jargon for saying the number that multiplies through the x. Okay? The way to undo that, what's the opposite of multiplication? It's division. So we're going to divide this side of the equation by 3. And what you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. Okay? So in actuality, what we've really done, well, we call this actually multiplication property of equality, even though it looks like we're dividing. And the reason for that is, in actuality, what we've just done is multiplied both sides of the equation by 1/3. Dividing by 3 and multiplying by 1/3 is the same thing. It performs the same action. And we don't have a division property of equality. We have addition and multiplication. We don't have division property of equality. We don't have subtraction property of equality. So when you think of subtraction, you're really adding opposites. You're adding additive inverses. When you're dividing, you're really multiplying by the multiplicative inverse, so the reciprocal. So those are the properties that we use, addition and multiplication. Multiplication property of equality. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. 3 divided by 3 is 1, so we get 1x. So x is equal to 3. This is simplify, simplify. And that's all you were asked to do on that one, is tell me what were the properties used to get from the beginning equation down here to the very end. We're done.